All right, welcome back in, and time to bring on our new general manager, Andrew Barry, who I would say that one of the few guys that when I first got here, that anytime I saw AB, smile on the face. One of the nicest dudes.
A tremendous human.
And yeah, tremendous human, as we say. That when you went to Philly and got to work in that organization and learn so many things. So let's just start with welcome back. It's so great to see you again. This was a tremendous day today. You see all of your family, your kids running around. Was it surreal at all today? I know you've been back in the building for a little while, but at any point today, was it like, wow, this all just happened in front of all the people I love?
First of all, thank you guys for having me this afternoon. Certainly today was a special day in my life and career, and mainly because my family was able to actually be in attendance and support what is certainly a seminal moment in my career. Just really excited and feel very, very blessed for the support that they've given me throughout my time in the NFL, and it definitely was an exciting day for me on a personal level.
Youngest GM in the history of the National Football League, which is a pretty cool honor, pretty cool distinction. We've talked a lot about what brought you back here, but what was the conversation? Because I don't think anybody's asked you this. What was the conversation you had with Howie Roseman when he said, hey, I'm going, they're making me the GM in Cleveland, and I'm going? Because I know he played a very important role in this for you over the last year.
Yeah, so when I told Howie that, his first comment, he joked, oh, so they planted you as a seedling for you to be here for a year, steal all of our secrets, and then actually come back. But certainly when I left to go to Philadelphia, I was expecting certainly a longer period of time there. But Howie has been incredibly supportive since really day one, and probably the emotion that he expressed the most is just being proud, and that's something that I really appreciate. And I'm sure anyone can appreciate with one of their mentors or bosses.
What made this? Because you would have had other opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
What was it about this opportunity at this time that led you to believe that's where I got to go?
Yeah, it's two main reasons, and I know it's going to sound a little bit cliche, but number one, the fan base here. The Browns, they really are a part of the fabric of Northeast Ohio, and I don't think people truly understand until they live here the passion that these people have for the team. And then the second piece, talking about people, was fortunate to develop a lot of really great relationships in the organization the first time around. Looking forward to developing strong new relationships the second time around. And it really is a special group of people that are already here within football operations and even on the business side. And having the opportunity to work with people that develop both professional and a personal connection with, that was a strong draw for me.
And you talked in one of the things you learned while in Philly was about the importance of the front office having those relationships with the players and getting to know them as people. Yeah. How do you actually do that in practice?
Yeah, so part of it is just our players, they're people no different than you. It's just about spending.
It's
a little bit.
Sure.
Okay, sure. Okay. Maybe you're not quite as athletic, Nate. But it really is just about spending time and seeing really everybody across the organization as humans and people first before their employees or what they can do for you as a supervisor or for you on the field. And it's really just whether it's in the cafeteria, Denzel Ward, he just popped up after a workout right before I popped on with you guys. And sometimes it's just having a conversation about, family or outside interests, before delving into anything football related.
He's got a big arm, he tells me.
So I can verify this, though. I can verify this. I can verify this. I've seen Nate in flag football settings, and he's a little bit like Jeff George. He's got a
I might have to leave.
I might have to leave. You should just walk out. You're never going to get a better moment than that in the history.
Save this audio.
Right there.
Save this audio.
Birth
forever.
of your children, marriage, and now this. That's it. As good as it gets.
That's right.
When you go about roster building, and you said this is a front office, this is built on scouting, and that's what you came up in, is in scouting. Do you have, obviously you have a philosophy to that. Positional importance. What are the most important positions that you will assign? Obviously we have our quarterback, which goes at the top of anyone, but what other positions do you think these are the ones we got to get right?
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned it. All starts with the quarterback. We are a quarterback-centric organization. Kevin, in his offensive philosophy particularly, he's talked about the marriage of the run and pass game, and that's certainly important on that side of the ball. But more generally speaking, we're going to really invest in the positions that we think are highest leverage. And certainly in our sport today, we truly believe that positions that impact the passing game are ones that are high impact for winning. And that doesn't mean that we're going to dismiss the running game or anything along those lines, but that is going to be one of our primary focuses.
So pass rushers, corners,
Yeah.
people who stop the pass, people help you throw it. Now, one thing you obviously saw in Philly, and anybody who watched the Super Bowl saw it as well, and you go even to Minnesota and Kevin State last year, tight ends. And Philly guys had Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz, two of the best, one of the best tandems in the league. You got Travis Kelce, you had George Kittle playing in the Super Bowl this year. This is an offense that uses two receivers and uses two tight ends almost 50% of the time, if not more.
Yeah.
How important is that position, and is that one that when you talk about the passing game now, and I know that they do it all. They block, they run routes, they do everything, but is that position maybe even more important now than people even thought it was a few years ago?
Yeah, I think tight ends in our sport now, and maybe it's not quite fair to say a few years ago, because I was thinking even when I started off in Indianapolis, we had Dallas Clark, right? Dallas Clark and
Fleener and Allen drafted them same year.
Yep, I think. And so. From our perspective, tight end can really be a hybrid position because it's almost like half line, half receiver, and you can create some real mismatches in both the run and pass game if you have the right athletes at those spots. You mentioned Ertz, you mentioned Goedert. We talked about Dallas Clark, Kobe Fleener, Dwayne Allen. You can look at what New England did a number of years ago with Gronk and Hernandez, and then obviously what Kevin did with Kyle Rudolph and Irv Smith this past year. So the nice thing is with tight ends, you can run two backs, one tight end. You can be in 12 personnel, so one back, two tight ends, and you can really get to formations that you would typically see with three receivers and one tight end if you have that versatile mismatch guy on the roster.
Now, David Njoku, a guy in your second draft here, the first go-around, taken in the first round, had a really nice, I thought, rookie year, a very nice second year last year, injured for a variety of reasons, whatever, it didn't work out. Is that a guy that you still think can become one of the dominant tight ends in this game?
Yeah, we still have a lot of confidence in David. Obviously, last year, didn't go according to plan.
Sure.
And I know he feels that way. We feel that way. Obviously, he was hurt for a significant stretch, but we still have a lot of faith there. Think he's a very talented young player. Looking forward to seeing Kevin, Drew Petzing, work with him to ultimately get him to his ceiling.
Andrew, I think one thing that's important is that this roster so well. It wasn't that long ago you were here, so it's not like there's that many guys you got to get to know. A lot of them as you're looking at this roster, and I know you're not going to give away any secrets or anything like that. But as you're looking at the roster, what is your overall impression of the talent that is here? And I know fans out there want to know how close do you think we are? Those type of things. What do you think of this roster that's been handed to you?
Yeah, I wish I had a crystal ball to say how close we are. I guess in terms of the talent base of the roster, we do have some young core pieces at key spots, but we also still have a fair amount of work to do, and that's across the roster at every position. We're going in with the mindset to actively and aggressively add talent and competition at every position on offense and defense.
What's kind of your thoughts on trades? Because, we've seen a lot of trades here in Cleveland recently. There are obviously Howie Roseman loves to trade in Philadelphia. Maybe you can send Jannard Avery back. He can be on the comeback program with you as well. But what's kind of your philosophy on trades? And, as being new to being a GM, even though you've been in the league for 10 years, a lot of times that comes from your contacts and working around the league and how those deals come together.
Yeah, and I would say probably both Howie and I think Sashi even previously here did a really nice job of being aggressive in terms of attacking the trade market. And that's something that we'll continue to do. I think part of it is just being hyperactive with the calls you make, staying in touch with other teams and other general managers. But we're going to look at every area where we can acquire talent, and that's certainly one of them.
As you think about going forward and putting together your lieutenants around you in your front office in terms of heads of scouting and assistant GM and those type of things, any time frame at all on filling those positions?
No, I would say there's not a specific time frame right now. We have a lot of really great people in the building already. Our focus, right now, actually day one of draft meetings is today for us. Yeah, is today for us. So awesome. Our focus is really on the draft and free agency in the short term, and as we get through the rest of the spring, we'll talk about staffing decisions at the appropriate time.
Bo and I just want to let you know, because earlier you were talking about diversity of thought and background, that in case you need to call upon us, we're here for you. We're right here. We're here.
Pull us in
anytime.
I appreciate the offer. That's good to know.
Yeah. You buy your old house back or what?
So the first time around, my wife and I, we lived downtown. We didn't have any kids at the time.
Yeah.
Trying to convince her to go right there, but it's a battle that I'm currently losing. So we'll see how things shake out over the next.
Going to the
over the next
burbs,
few
man.
months.
Come to the
That's all right.
burbs.
It's part of it.
Oh,
It's part of the
spread out.
evolution.
Yeah.
Spread out.
Yeah.
That's right.
Spread out. Andrew, welcome back.
Thank you very much,
It's
guys.
great seeing you, man. It was a really cool day today, and for all of us, and it's great to have you back.
All right, pleased to be back. Thanks, guys, for having me.
That's our
Thank
new
you.
general manager, Andrew Berry, back, and it's good to have him back. You listen to CBD on 850 ESPN Cleveland.